Good morning.
Good morning. So we're gonna, due to technical difficulties, we're gonna rise and sing number 71, which is I Celebrate. And we'll get a new light bulb in there for next week. So let us stand and sing it with lots of enthusiasm. Good job of being spontaneous. That was fabulous.
Good morning, everyone. I see lots of friends, but I don't see any new visitors. But if you're listening to us on the internet, welcome. Please take a moment and turn off your cell phone. Make sure that it's quiet so it won't interrupt our service. I'd like to let you know that our guest musician is Cliff. Welcome back, Cliff. Maurita will be our speaker today. Thank you, Maurita, for bringing us a message. And it's time for Nancy to be our reader.
So Maurita, you're just going to have to read Our Father to us, since it will be on the wall. I just want to make sure you had a copy. Oh wait, what happened? Oh, it'll be on for a couple seconds and then it's going to go off again.
See what I can do.
Okay. Jan is putting on one of her alternate hats. She has so many hats. Okay, this is from this great book called Working with the Law. It's a class I taught about 4 years ago. That class lasted 8 months, every Monday night for 8 months. Everybody came together and it was a wonderful class, and so I just opened it up today. I just wanted to see if I could find something inspiring, and I think I did. The laws of successful living are the same as the laws of science. The supply and the possibility is ever the same and at hand. It is our problem to change the use of, or application of the law in order to bring about conditions better than those we have had. You can use the law to lift yourself out of the place where you are to the place where you rightfully belong. Your right place is where you can enjoy success and plenty. This is natural, as the law intended. Your failure to realize these things is a miscalculation. The law does not need to change. Success or prosperity does not need to be made. It always is. You must change. Then your affairs will follow the change. Well, where do you change? The seat of all movement, the controller of all activity, is your thought. The key to every man is his thought, says Emerson. Why do prisoners strive to get the warden's keys? That they may gain their freedom in the outer world, because there is no other way out. Neither can you be free of your bonds except through the key, through the right use of your thought. The key to successful living is the right adjustment of your thoughts. If your thoughts are constructive and proper, you cannot remain imprisoned. If you are dissatisfied and unhappy, you will be inspired to something better. If you want prosperity and success, but do not strive to change in any way, how can you expect things to be different? If some habit possesses or obsesses you, you are not the master of your life until you decide to change the habit. If you have been brought into the world amidst lack and limitation, you can never get above it until you change your ideas about it. There are many, many people who live and die and never know anything different from what has been handed down to them. Once you have changed your vision, you will change conditions. Only when we cease to recognize a condition do we cease to attract it. Very important sentence. Only when we cease to recognize a condition do we cease to attract it. The only way we can cease to recognize things is to change our minds about them.
All right, while the tech team is working, we're going to sing our first hymn of the day, page 15, A Prayer for Peace. We're going to sing all 3 verses. So if you'll grab your hymnal and turn to page 15, A Prayer for Peace. All right, let's rise when we're ready.
The Bible verse that I'm going to talk about this morning is from 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter. For we are laborers together with God. Now, of course, we all labor at certain things during our days, but how often do we think of the fact that we are actually God's opportunity right there? Right there. God is expressing. God, omnipresent, is putting forth blessing and good right there. We don't think of that, do we? I don't. Not always. occasionally, we are laborers together with God. We're never alone in what we do. It's never just me by myself, you by yourself. There is that consciousness, that universal mind, that presence, that good, that peace, that knowledge, that inspiration, right there at all times, helping, if we just open ourselves to it. If we remember that that is available. But we forget. Our mind is on other things. But this is like wondering where your next meal is going to come from, but you're in the bank and you've got money there. Same thing. We have access to all this good. We are laborers together with God. Remember it. Especially in those times when you think, oh, for crying out loud, why is this happening? What am I going to do next? That right there is the place. To know that, boy, I'm not alone in this. I am laboring together with infinite mind, all power, joy, love, peace. Let's take advantage of it. Let's remember to do it. Let's rejoice in it. Shall we say our divine science statement of being? It's in your orders of service if you don't know it for heart. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God and am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. See on the portal, sees, waiting and watching, watching for you and for me. Come home. Come home, ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling old sinner, come home. Why should we tarry when Jesus is pleading? Pleading for you and for me. Why should we linger and heed not his mercy? Mercy for you and for me. Come home. Come home. Ye who weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling. Calling no sinner, come. Oh, for the wonderful love He has promised. Promised for you and for me. Though we have sinned, He has mercy and pardon. Pardon for you and for me. Come home. Come home, ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling. Calling old sinners, come home.
Some of us make spaces in our lives for a quiet time, for time to be with God. Others are just so busy you can't seem to fit it in. But always on Sunday morning, I love to be able to get still with you. There's a wonderful melding of thought and energy. Intention, a sense of peace. When we turn to this magnificent Spirit, this wholesome and true and blessed and joyful and beautiful Father, Mother, friend, beloved companion. And that's what we are doing right now, getting still, closing our eyes, going within. Take that deep breath and let it out as slowly as possible. Feel the shoulders relax, arms and hands and backs and stomachs. And enjoy that flow of peace, that flow of positive feeling, that inner support, that blessed presence. When we can relax in that, everything works out okay. When we can trust the feelings that we get when we get still, when we can trust the little thought that might come into our head as being inspiration, guidance. When we can just open ourselves to this omnipresent Spirit, the Spirit that knows us to our depths, knows us as we do not know ourselves, and loves us unconditionally. Doesn't matter what we have or have not done. Doesn't matter what we happen to be about in our lives. God loves and will help. Will help us move in the right directions. And today we celebrate that connection, that inseparable connection, that eternal connection. For we are eternal beings and we will always be connected with God, whether we're conscious of it or not. Whether it's part of our thinking or feeling or intention, it doesn't matter. There is no separate from infinite presence, from eternal love. We are so grateful for that. We are so grateful for it. And right now we know that two of the dear people who are usually here on Sunday morning are indeed surrounded, filled, loved, blessed, protected. We're thinking of Anne and we're thinking of Jerry today. And know that all good is their experience. That what might ever be keeping them from being here is a doorway to greater good, to healing, to assurance, to inspiration, to looking forward to good, better, best in their days to come. We extend this prayer to all the people that you're concerned about. All the people that you love and who love you. And the circle gets larger because we extend it to your friends and neighbors and acquaintances. To all the people whom we touch in the course of a few days or a week or a month. And still further, just that gradual tide of love and truth and affirmation of good reach out to not only your neighbors and friends and acquaintances and even the strangers you pass on the street, but everyone who lives somewhere near you. Those who live in our Roanoke community. And spreading out yet further throughout our state, north and south. And throughout our whole country, going from sea to shining sea, from north to south. And finally, extending in every direction. For we know that God is omnipresent, God is right there. Right there. For each and all. Available. Willing. Present. This day we give thanks for that, for ourselves, for everyone else. God's loving presence, God's infinite, powerful, wise help. In the 90 seconds of silence that we're going to have, relax into that silence. Let everything go. Let go and let God. Whatever you might have been concerned about, Release it. Release it to omnipresence. Release it to blessings. Starting right now. Come unto me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I will give you help. I will give you inspiration. I will give you beneficial ideas, creative ideas. I will help you see the right way to go. I will bless and protect. I will because I love you. Thank you that it is so. Amen.
I lied.
It fixed it. Shall we say the Lord's Prayer translated from the Aramaic? Our Father, who is everywhere, your name is sacred, your kingdom is come, your will is throughout the earth, even as it is throughout the universe. You give us our needful bread from day to day, and you forgive us our offenses, even as we forgive our offenders. And you let us not enter into materialism, but you separate us from error, because yours are the kingdom, the power, and the song and praise, from all ages, throughout all ages, sealed in faith, trust, and truth. Well, this morning, I'm going to be speaking about the inner dimension of thank you. The other day, what floated into my mind was a thought of a certain very nice person who neglected to say thank you to me. Believe me, that's an unusual thought. That's not something that comes into my head all the time at all. I never think in those terms, but lo and behold, there was that memory again. Now, I had agreed to do a wedding ceremony out of town for this person. The day before the wedding, Eddie, my husband, and I drove there, spent the night. A friend offered to drive us to the venue where ceremony was going to take place. And on the way there, two cars in front of us actually suddenly stopped. They probably had their direction signal on. They wanted to make a left turn. The car in front of us had no doubt seen the signal, and we did not. Our driver did not. So they stopped on time, and our car did not. There was a front-end collision, in other words. Eddie was sitting in the back seat, and he'd had a hard time buckling his seatbelt, and he was just holding it over him like that was going to do a lot of good. When the car struck the car in front of us, he flew forward and hit his face on the back of the front seat and broke his nose. And oh my, there was blood. That's one of the earmarks of that kind of an injury. Anyway, the driver called a friend to pick me up, take me to where I had to do the ceremony, and took him, I should say, to the emergency room, the nearest one. Performed the wedding ceremony. Of course, I couldn't stay for the reception after. I had to get back to that emergency room, and so somebody in the crowd offered to take me to the emergency room, and so I said goodbye, and I really never received any acknowledgement of having done this out-of-town wedding ceremony, or for the wedding gift that I had given to the couple. Now, it really is, and I swear, it is unusual for me to think about such things. But I have this really old habit of saying to myself, and I've probably mentioned it before from here, this thought comes into my head whenever I've noticed somebody making some kind of a mistake. This little whisper comes into my head. Haven't you done something like that before? And that question has a way of keeping me out of being judgmental or critical of somebody else. Because way too often I've done something similar to that. You can't point at anybody else really without having three fingers point back at you. So I remembered, oh yeah, yeah. It took me almost a year to write thank you notes for the wedding gifts that Eddie and I received when we got married. Now there was no excuse for that, absolutely none. I should have been taking care of it, right away. I wasn't that busy at all. But my parents had never taught me to write thank you notes. And their parents probably never taught them to write thank you notes. But it really is important to give thanks to people, perhaps verbally, face-to-face, maybe by a phone call, or maybe just through a note. But it's important. Not just because it's a polite thing to do, or it's just a social custom, that's what people do. And because doing something like that, giving thanks, actually helps us more than it helps anybody else. It is a powerful discipline in so many dimensions of ourselves. A grateful frame of mind and outer expressions of gratitude increase our own good. Now, what I'm talking about, it isn't just Pollyanna kind of, and that nice kind of stuff. Be positive. No. What I'm talking about is science. Gratitude has been the focus of scientific studies. A great many of them, many more than you might imagine, in such places as UC Berkeley, Harvard, Indiana University, Northwestern University, as well as a number of psychiatrists and psychologists have done studies also that were featured in various scientific journals. Now, what have these studies found anyway. What was the focus? But they found out that certainly, number one, gratitude opens the door to better relationships. Nothing more that is more positive than saying thank you. Helps someone else to feel comfortable or appreciated, feel good within themselves. Saying thank you, noting something that somebody has done and extended themselves, makes them feel good, and it increases the warm connections between yourself and perhaps a significant other, or a family member, or a friend, or a neighbor, or an employee. Oh, to praise employees certainly will get better results than saying something critical. Edmund Wilson once said this: gratitude is one of those rare things you get more of by giving it away. You get more of it by giving it away. How true. Better relationships are just one of the things you get. Get a lot more. Most importantly, actually, the vast majority of the benefits of thanksgivingness accrue to you. Expressing gratitude improves your physical health. Believe it or not, it improves your health. You have fewer aches and pains because you are producing fewer stress chemicals like cortisol in the body. So there is less physical stress in the body. And that happens every time you express appreciation. People who express gratitude actually report feeling healthier than other people. But by far the greater number of benefits are inner benefits, psychological benefits, emotional benefits, rather than just interpersonal or physical ones. Now listen to this. Gratitude reduces negative emotions. You can't feel grateful and at the same time feel envious or resentful of somebody. Thankfulness enhances a feeling of empathy and sensitivity to other people. And so you have far less reason to get angry at somebody and then try to retaliate or take revenge. Not if you're feeling grateful or if you made a habit of gratitude. And in so doing, you avoid all sorts of future difficulties for yourself if you follow up on that feeling to retaliate or take revenge. And instead, you find something to be thankful in that person's behavior. Yet, it is powerful. And it is also a powerful escape if you have the habit of self-pity. Oh, woe is me. Oh, they did such and such, and I'm so, Try being grateful. And self-pity disappears. Studies have found that gratitude increases happiness. And believe it or not, actually reduces depression. Reduces depression. A study at UC Berkeley found that practicing gratitude can alter brain function in depressed individuals. It creates structural changes in the brain. It rewires the brain to feel gratitude, to practice gratitude. How about bad moods? Believe me, feeling grateful for something will lift your spirits. Healthcare professionals say that spending 15 minutes writing in a gratitude journal every night, some say as little as 5 minutes, writing in a gratitude journal, the things that you've been grateful for that happened during the day, that will help you sleep better and longer. It'll give you a better outlook on life, It will increase your long-term feeling of inner well-being. Boy, that's giving just a little bit and getting a whole lot, a whole lot. In some of these studies, brain activity was examined by using functional magnetic resonance imaging. They can see what's happening in the brain while you're having these feelings. It found that gratitude showed activity in a set of regions located in the medial prefrontal cortex. That's right in the front of them, behind your forehead. An area where the two lobes of the brain, these two hemispheres meet in the front. Now, this area of the brain is associated with understanding other people's perspectives and with empathy for them. The regions associated with gratitude are part of the neural networks that light up the reward center in the brain by increasing neurochemical activity and the production of feel-good chemicals like dopamine in the brain. Same thing happens when you socialize. You're having a lot of fun with friends and so forth. Or when you experience pleasure of any sort. Same areas light up. Again, more dopamine in the brain. This is also an area of the brain that is massively connected to the systems of the body, like the heart, as well as the brain. These systems that regulate emotion, support the process of stress relief, and lead to a sense of resilience inside us and a feeling of well-being. All of these things, physiological, that gratitude gives us. There was a study done in 2014 that showed that gratitude actually increased self-esteem. You began liking yourself better. You wouldn't think there was a connection, but there is, apparently. People who practice Thanksgiving stop comparing themselves negatively with other people. Oh, yes. What a release from just stupidity. What a wrong way of thinking. You know, Teddy Roosevelt once said, comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. It is. But gratitude for what we have leads to a new awareness and a new appreciation for the untold number of wonderful things that we enjoy, that we have access to day by day, and we take them for granted. It prevents us from dwelling in what we don't have and fosters great appreciation of what we really do have, which is so much. It fosters also greater resilience within us. Negative things happen, we look for the good anyway. And that whatever negative thing might have occurred, it doesn't bowl us over. The main idea is we need to be thankful even when we don't feel like it. You need to express gratitude like when you don't know something, because it gives you an opportunity to learn something that you didn't know. Give thanks for difficult times. There are times when you grow the most. Be thankful for limitations because they're opportunities for improvement. New challenges, sometimes really, we don't care for that, but be thankful anyway because such times build strength of character. Be thankful for your mistakes because they teach you such valuable lessons. Oh, you don't forget those lessons. Be thankful for being weary at the end of the day because you can sit back and feel a sense of inner satisfaction that you have given that day your very best effort. Now, right now, I'm going to ask you to call to mind the greatest challenge you have right now. Now, I generally don't do things like this, but I want you to bring that into the forefront of your mind. What is the greatest problem, challenge, difficulty? Probably don't have to fish too far to find it. Think about it. Have you identified it? Hopefully. Got it? Right there is your greatest gift. Absolutely. Right there is your greatest opportunity. Absolutely. I want you to do something that you probably have never done before. I want you to spend a moment or so being grateful for that. Grateful, please. Yeah. Try being grateful, saying thank you. Thank you for that. Give God thanks for it. You might have mixed feelings, but that's okay. Hold on to that. You see, in divine science, we believe that everything leads to good and greater good because everything is God, the good, in action. God in action is all there is. In divine science, we believe that this infinite presence is the basic energy of the universe. And I keep reminding myself of what Einstein has said, and I've said it so many times, standing right here. Matter is energy slowed down in vibration to the point of visibility. Matter is energy. Everything you smell, taste, touch, hear, see, everything, that's matter. But in fact, it is energy. The seats you're sitting on are energy. Your bodies are energy. The floor that you've got your feet on, energy. Everything is energy. And the basic energy that supports that manifestation is God energy. God omnipresent, God universal, God love, God solutions, God good everywhere. We have to trust that. If we see the universe that way, we learn to trust Him, to be grateful to God. Of course you do whatever you feel like you need to do in a practical way to handle this challenge that you have. But perhaps for the first time, be grateful for it. Expect that a gift is going to come through that challenge. A wonderful gift. Every time it comes to mind, practice gratitude. Prepare mentally for a blessing that is going to come through that experience. Change it from being an enemy into being a friend. So when you think of it, you don't think, oh, God, I don't want to have to handle that, or that's awful. No. No, now I expect a gift through that very thing. Whether it happens to be a physical condition, or a financial situation, or an interpersonal difficulty, or a work challenge, whatever. Doesn't matter. We keep giving thanks and watch it gradually become a blessing. Watch it. Change your attitude to it and watch it change. There was a man by the name of John Kralik, whose life was frankly a disaster. He was miserable, broke, overweight. He was on his second divorce. He was living in a crummy apartment in Los Angeles that had no air conditioning. He was an attorney who couldn't afford to give his employees Christmas bonuses because his clients weren't paying their bills on time. Some of them were not going to pay them at all. He went hiking in the hills above Los Angeles one New Year's Day, and he had an epiphany. Something occurred to him and kind of bowled him over. John decided to write one thank you note every day for the whole year. 365 thank you notes. He wanted to find a reason to be grateful every single day. And lo and behold, he found reasons to be grateful right under his nose, things he'd never considered, never looked at before. This decision rather rapidly turned his life around 100%. Life blossomed because gratitude taught him the value of all the good that he did have in his life. It created also a discipline of a positive focus in his life. A year or so later, and he kept on writing a thank you note every day after that. A couple of years later, he decided to put his experiences down in a book, and it was a very personal book about what had challenged him and the adventure of writing these thank you notes, and it became a bestseller, actually. Now, John Kralik practiced law in Los Angeles for 30-some-odd years, but a number of years ago he was appointed to be a judge for the Los Angeles County Superior Court. So he's no longer a lawyer, he's a judge, and has been for quite a while. But gratitude was John's golden road to abounding good, and so it can be for every single person who tries this idea. Paul said in 1 Thessalonians, "In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning us." Let the inner dimension of thank you to God become your golden road for ever greater good. Let's get still and go within and give thanks. Give thanks that we're sitting here today. Give thanks for the good that unfolds daily in our lives that we just take for granted. Give thanks for the wonderful positive gifts that are coming forth through that greatest challenge that you're handling right now. Give thanks to God for all of life. For all of it truly is a gift. Thank you, thank you, thank you, beloved friend. Amen.
Oh, friend, we have in Jesus all our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. All because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Have we trials and temptations? Is there trouble anywhere? We should never be discouraged. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Can we find a friend so faithful who will all our sorrows bear? Jesus knows our every weakness. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Heavy laden, covered with a load of care. Precious Savior, still our refuge. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Do thy friends despise forsake thee? Take it to the Lord in prayer. In his arms to take and shield thee, thou wilt find solace there. You got too little time, take a little time, take a little time to pray. Take a little time to pray. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Everything to God in prayer.
Time for the blessing of our gifts. If you will, grab your orders of service and let's say together, today I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will with abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gift that I am. Through me, God omnipresent blesses and multiplies this gift for all. Thank you, dear God. All right, as the baskets are coming around, please turn to someone nearby and thank them for the special gift that they are.
Bless yourself and another by taking one or more of these slips and praying for someone special.
Sort of coming.
Okay. Good morning. Okay, the flowers today are sponsored by Bob Brooks. It's in memory of his mother and dad's birthday. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
We still have some empty spaces on the flower calendar if anybody would like to sign up. We also still have a couple of empty spaces on the birthday cake list, so if somebody would fill in those 2 spaces, we would appreciate that. Also, as Maria said, we had a prayer for Ann. She's having surgery tomorrow, and I will let everybody know as soon as I hear from Bob how things go. We know all will be well with that, so just keep her in mind. And I know that she got a recovery, I think, of 3 to 4 weeks, or maybe shorter or longer, but we'll send her cards. Everybody, if you don't have her address, it's in the directory, and you can certainly see some of us, and we can get it for you. I announced the other week we are no longer collecting paper towel rolls and egg cartons. So if you've got those, keep them at home and put them in the recycle, because we don't need them anymore. I think the school in Martha is overwhelmed with them, so we don't need any more of those. Also, we're starting collecting soup and crackers for the League of Older Americans. We'll be doing that through the first week of February. So I'll be reminding you of that. So just if you can, pick up a can or so of soup. They're always having sales on it. So anything you can do to help, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, we're still collecting change for the church. We have the boxes, so if you don't have a box and you want one to put change in, we'll take all of it. Even if you want change, you've got dollars, we'll put that in there too. We'll take that. So, and we, the people that met for craft, we've been making little things for Valentine's Day, so we've got them for sale, so they're cheap. So come to check them out and buy something. That's a fundraiser for the church also. Nancy's class is tomorrow night, 6:30. You can still come if you haven't been here for the first week. And also, we have Wednesday night coffee, and Thursday night you're having healing circle this week. Okay. Anything else, Maurita?
No.
Okay. All right.
Tomorrow is
Rachel's birthday.
her
Yes.
birthday.
Yes.
Oh.
So,
Birthday,
Okay.
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Let's see happy birthday. Rachel.
Yeah. I couldn't miss that.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rachel. Happy birthday to you.
Many more. A couple of things I want to share this week. We're always hearing bad news, and I'd like to share a couple of good things with you. Some of you have already heard this story. My niece, about 3 years ago, moved back from Colorado, and she had 2 dogs, and she hadn't been here but like a month, and one of them ran away. And of course, she did everything, couldn't find it. So this past week, she was headed to work, and she saw this stray dog on the side of the road, and she stopped, picked it up. It wasn't her dog, but she took it to work with her to try to find the owner. So she and her boss looked on the websites in that area up there, and whose picture showed up with her dog that had been missing for 2 years and 8 months. So she got her dog back. So that is one of those things that makes your heart just, So that was really, I'm amazed that we all thought that a coyote or something, because it lived out in the country. But so, and over the past 2 years, she'd been wanting another dog, but every time she would see one that I would send her, that she would call about it had been adopted or something to come up. So it was not meant to be for her to have another dog. This dog came back. So that has been a real joy this week. Also, received a letter in the mail this past week, and I wanted to share it with you. It says, "Hi Valley Community Church friends. I appreciate the card you sent me thanking me for all my support throughout the year. I am grateful to be able to serve the church whenever I can because I get rewarded in helping others. First of all, I want to say I have some of the best bulk friends anyone could ask for. Yes, I know the quote comes from Pam Woods, but I like it. The church gives me solace that I have people that support Ann and me when needed. That support is not only physical support, but mental as well, through a place to vent frustrations that life brings. Advice, when asked, usually positive, deep conversations, and just an opportunity to laugh about life. For all these reasons and more, I want to thank the church for being there for Ed and me. Sincerely, Bob Deere. So this, you know, you think you don't make a difference, but you do. So I just wanted to share that. I thought it was important that everybody in the church know that. So there you go.
All right, church family, our last hymn today is on the wall, miraculously. Your name is wonderful, so rise when you're ready.
Shall we make a circle? We're all connected. All gathered together with a consciousness that we are never alone because we are connected with one another and with God. Let us find reason for gratitude in our lives because it multiplies our good. We see the world in a different place. We do ourselves a favor physically, mentally, emotionally, and absolutely spiritually. Thank you, beloved Father, Mother, friend, for all that you do for us, for loving us. Amen.
Amen.